What a world, DJ on the mic. What chopping and screwing with your favorite boy who's on the mat, and it's gonna be your BT13 Beelzemon deck profile for you. Like I said, this boy be absolutely clapping cheeks. He may have got restricted, but boy, you cannot stop the high roll goodness that this deck is so good at doing. Still doing amazing in regionals, still topping. So in this video, I'm going to go over my deck profile, all that good stuff. So if you enjoy this content, make sure you stick around and enjoy. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and set the notification bell because I do videos on the reg. Right, let's go all the way back to the eggs, baby, because we like them scrambled. And we're going to go in with the Starter Deck 14 Yarmon. This is definitely the most solid egg that you could use, just ensuring that when you are swinging, you're going to be just accelerating your trash. Make sure, obviously, you can utilize the tame that you do have and so forth in order for you to kind of accelerate your game plan. If you do like using Pagamon is also an excellent option, but I would strongly suggest using a lot more BT2 Impmon because that really just helps with that. I mean, you can be trashing up to 5 cards in the swing, getting some serious aggro. But one thing that we want to make sure is that when we are pushing out with good reason and we're getting the maximum trash effects that we can get off top of our deck. So this is the reason why we do run the 4 Yarmon over the Pagamon currently. So concludes with the eggs. For going over to the rookies, we do run 13. Ideally, you want to be running 13 because you want to be summoning your Impmons from trash off your Beelzemon EX2. So we do run the 4 Starter Deck 14 Impmon as standard. Definitely just a good card for its inheritable trashing. Well, when you trash a card from the top of your deck, you're able to delete a level 3 Digimon, which is just great for those pesky floodgates. Then we do run the 4 Impmon X antibodies. Definitely great to obviously once again stack up with your egg, ensuring that you then can effectively trash up to 4 cards when you are attacking. Then we go in with the 3 BT2 Impmon. This is just great for that early chip game. If you happen to summon out an Impmon from the Beelzemon effect EX2, then effectively this is the Impmon that you actually want to get out, just so it adds a lot of pressure to your opponent. Ideally, they have to answer that. Either I'm going to swing into your security, or you're going to delete it, and I'm going to then trash free off top of my deck, which is just a win-win either way. Then going for the restricted card is going to be your EX2 Impmon. Such a power play here. This card, it was extremely powerful, and it was the correct hit in regards to the restriction, just because it was our primary searcher to ensure that we could get at least a Iron Mako and a Beelzemon from the top 4, which is very strong. And then on top of that, the inheritable, giving us 3000 DP when we were at our Beelzemon is huge. We were swinging over big things. So now it's restricted to 1. It is rather unfortunate, but to be honest, we had to slow the deck down because if you did mill it, then you could effectively mill up to additional 3 cards. So we definitely slowed it down, but it does not mean that this deck is absolutely neutered. It can still pop off as strong as it did. And then lastly, we do run the BT6 Impmon. This card right here can really help you out of sticky situations in order for you to kind of utilize your trash in order for you to essentially get your Beelzemons back, which is very handy. Unfortunately, you cannot grab the Beelzemon Blast mode, but you can get your X antibody Beelzemon or your Beelzemon. So really strong card here. Really good ways to utilize your trash, especially if you do happen to play it by your EX2 Beelzemon. Oh, just so good. Just really good stuff. So that concludes for the rookies. We do run 13. Then we run 9 champions. So as standard, we do go in with the we do run the Wizardmon, which obviously grants you memory if milled off top of your deck. This is just such high roll. Utilizing that with Iron Mako from the starter deck is just the absolute worth. Then we do go in with the 2 Wizardmon X antibody. This is just great in order for you to either, if you've evoed on top of a rookie, then effectively you can trash 2, which is going to be helping you out. But if you've evoed on top of Wizardmon, you do not trash 2, but you gain blocker, which is good because when you do go into your Balmon, effectively Balmon trigger its effects, but then Balmon, depending if you have 10 or more in trash, it means that you can effectively block and then you're able to summon out a Beelzemon from the trash, and also prevent the opponent from attacking your security, which is a nice interaction. Very rarely it actually happens though, but it's a nice option to have, especially if you're preventing lethal. Then lastly, we do run the 2 Witchmon. Witchmon, very strong card right here, because we have lost multiple copies of the EX2 Impmon. We've lost that DP boost. With this, it enables us to kind of at least get 2k DP, which is kind of nice. Then if you are seeing your ultimates are essentially Wizard and Demon Lord, but most of them Wizards, so it means that you grant them additional 2k, which means that if you are going to plan to swing with them, at least you'll be swinging with higher DP, especially over the threshold of most DP ultimates in BT13, so very nice to have. Also, its when Digivolving effect is just superb, able to trash free from top of your deck. Always strong. If you're Iron Mako out, this card is cooking. Effectively Evo for 2, and then depending on what you trash, could effectively Evo for free, and then whatever cards you high roll, then you are in a very good position. So we do run that there too. Some decks do, or some builds do run it at 1, but I feel like 2 is just nice, especially with the hit to EX2 Impmon. So going over to the Ultimates, we do run 6. Yeah, very tight, but all cards do help accelerate the game plan. So obviously we run with the starter deck Beelzemon. That's still a staple. We still run that at 3. It's still a very powerful card. That lingering effect when you've digivolved means that if you was digivolved and then popped, effectively you can still go into Beelzemon if there is 10 or more cards in trash, and obviously there's a Beelzemon in there, which is just beautiful. It's not Beelzemon in name, so it has to be Beelzemon, so you can't just summon into a Beelzemon next antibody. It has to be a Beelzemon. But it's just great for just accelerating that trash. Inheritable is solid, granting an additional 2k DP. Obviously combo that up with your Witchmon, you just cooking. You're just cooking, swinging high, loving life. That's how this boy rolls. Then we do go in with the BT10 Beelzemon at 2. This is great for when you're kind of in raising, you're kind of forced in raising. Because sometimes you just need to hang back and just see what the opponent is doing before you kind of respond to their board. And I do like Beelzemon for that. It means that I'm not kind of wasting the effect, versus if I Evo in the back with the starter deck Beelzemon, I'm kind of wasting this effect there, which is a little bit unfortunate. But it's when attacking, able to trash, or it's actually say you may trash up to 3 cards. So you don't have to do all 3, you can just trash 1 if you wanted to. But that in combination with your own other inheritables, this can really accelerate your trash game so fast you wouldn't even believe it. It make the opponent's head spin. It's that quick about how much trash this can generate from the top of your deck. So really good card here. Definitely run that at 2. I feel like it's a solid at 2. And then lastly, we do run the Beelzemon X antibody. This is just fantastic in order for you to either, once again, if you can't find your start deck Beelzemon, at least then you've got this boy that can effectively do the same. It hasn't got the kind of on deletion, gain the on deletion, summon out a Beelzemon from trash, but if you've evoed on top of the Beelzemon, effectively you can clear a level 4 or lower. You won't realize how big that actually is depending on certain matchups, especially if you're facing, say, armors. Yes, guys, I said armors. The reason why is because actually Magnamon can be a little bit of a menace for this deck. If you can't effectively swing over Magnamon X or Magnamon, you're not really gaining much blockers. It's kryptonite. So being able to block a level 4 or able to delete a level 4 is actually quite handy. On top of that, it does grant you your X antibody if it's in trash, which really helps you with your power plays when you go in from obviously your start deck Impmon, go tuck it underneath, go for a swing, evo into your Beelzemon, do all that shenanigans. It's evos on well, it's actual when did you open effect, and then evo into your Beelzemon X antibody from your X antibody. So very strong, this card being in the deck. We do run at least one of the X antibodies, so this is the reason why we do run this boy right here. Really helps. Inheritable, once again, solid, grants you additional 2k DP if you've got the Wizard or Demon Lord trait, which our top end does. So once again, it assures us that we can actually swing big over menacing threats. So that concludes for the ultimates. We do run 6. So going on to the Megas. The Megas is a very hefty package as standard, and yeah, watch out for it, because we do run the 2 starter deck BLs. These just strong, just absolutely strong. Really, really nice card right here. Once again, great for that aggression. This could really just turn the tide. It's crazy how fast this deck can just win out of nowhere because of this card. Being able to, when Digimon trash 4, which is quite a big range to trash. If you happen obviously to get the EX2 Impmon, you're trashing freaking a lot of cards. 7. You're trashing 7 cards if you happen to do that. That's a big range. Then on top of that, all turns, when a card is trash, for every 10 cards in your trash, you gain a memory. Powerful. The fact that it's all turns is even stronger. And then on top of that, then you gain additional security attack, which once again, the reason why I like Beelzemon in particular, I'm a red player by heart, and anything with security attack, I'm all for. I'm all for, and this is the reason why I do love this boy. Even though he evolves for 4, 9 times out of 10, if you are at 10, then this is evolving for free. If you've obviously trashed a Wizardmon or a Death Slinger, it's even less. So really, the 4 is not expensive at all. Then we do run the free EX2 BLs. This once again still a great card, so strong. It's strong in a sense that it does a lot for the deck. It does a lot in terms of speed, it does a lot in terms of controlling the field, and also does a lot in terms of milling additional cards on top of your inheritables that you already have. Because if it's milled from the top of your deck, effectively you can summon out an Impmon from your trash. It's not Impmon in name, it is an Impmon, so you can't summon out your Impmon X antibody. So obviously this reason why we do run quite a hefty Impmon package is because effectively we want to make sure that we have targets for this boy to be popping off. Obviously, depending on your high roll, you could summon out a pretty menacing board that the opponent can't necessarily answer answer at all, which is just, you know, unfortunate for them, but we're looking $1 million strong for us. On top of that, when digivolving and when attacking, so it can trash the top 2 cards from the deck, which is once again brilliant. But the fact that it can effectively do this twice, so effectively it will trash up to 4 if you manage to also swing with this, and you can proc the effect effectively twice. So you could literally delete, depending on what your trash totals are, because for every 10 cards in trash, it can delete. Originally, it can delete over 3, but for every 10 cards it has in trash, it can delete a stage higher. So if it's got 10 in trash, you can delete over 4. Got 5 in trash, or got 5 in trash. Got 20 in trash, delete level 5. You see where I'm going with this. Very strong at the fact that when it's on the essentially going into it, you can pop twice. Very strong card for controlling. Can really be annoying depending on like your matchup. So say if they built like quite a wide board, so say that Balloon Lord, for example, this boy can control that field very nicely. So that's why we do run 3. Really excellent card, especially when it's milled. Then we go in with 2 Beelzemon X antibody. This is your win con. This is straight up your win con. Such a great card to be printed. And this is why I feel like Beelzemon probably never be out of the meta at all, because anything that essentially can burn off you just doing what you're doing is great. If it was essentially controlled by the opponent's essentially like, oh well, I'm just gonna play around it, but you can't play around me just trashing cards unless you play essentially an Omnimon merciful mode. In that sense, where it just took 10 back into your deck. But let's face it, not many decks are running that card. So this is great because for every 10 cards in trash, you're able to trash the top security from your opponent. So if it's got 20 in trash, you take 2. 30 in trash, you take 3. Really strong card right here. And then if you can get it better, on deletion, you're able to play an Impmon from your trash. Powerful. So say, for example, scenario, if you happen to go into your Balmon, either into Beelzemon. Obviously the Beelzemon's going to have that effect of that it can play a Beelzemon from trash if there is one in trash, if there's 10 or more cards in your trash. You go into this, you do your burn, and you've passed turn. So your opponent's like, well, now I've got a bit of a menace on the field right here. I've got a boy that can literally just clap my cheeks. So I'm going to delete it. That would be a very bad idea, because not only can he actually summon out a Beelzemon due to the Balmon effect that's lingering to the end of the opponent's turn, effectively you can also put out an Impmon there too. So it's such a power play. Like, essentially you don't even have to swing with this card. You could just putting him on top of your Beels, just to put the opponent in a very awkward predicament while still actually being offensive without you actually swinging. Very powerful card. Honestly, I can see this kind of shaping up. Maybe if, you know, down the line you could see decks that run 3 of this. Who knows at this point? Still a strong card. If it had a mill effect, it'd be nuts. It'd probably get straight up restricted. Then lastly, we do run the 1 Beelzemon Blast Mode. So this just finishes up games. This is the card that you probably want to target with your rivals, realistically, or if you have it, then just keep it in hand. We do run a slight different Tamer package, which I feel like I'm gonna get roasted for taking it, but I'm just sampling it out for now, seeing how it works. But effectively, what we can be doing, if it is in trash, it is in trash, but we can effectively utilize it if we have to. But if it's in our hands, ideally, you know, this is going to be just your game ender in a sense. So we just run that at 1. Its mill effect is quite nice because it can basically get rid of any form of floodgate or anything above that, depending on obviously what your trash totals are. So that concludes for the megas. Slightly waffled on there, but hope everyone got the drift in terms of what I'm doing on that. So let's get over to the options. Options are going to be very self-explanatory, and I feel like most deck profiles kind of follow the same kind of ratio. So we do run the 4 Death Slingers as standard. Obviously going to be a memory gain, also just your cheap removal. So cheap, 4 cost, depending on what your trash totals are. Menacing right there. We're going with a 2/7 cluster because, I mean, having a on deletion effect for you just playing the game is just great. Delete the lowest level Digimon on the field, banging. If it's in security, winning. It's just a great tool. There's a lot of Digimon that have form of protections that only can trigger once. Just having 2 of these that you can control is just the absolute worth. So definitely 2. We do run the 3 Rivals Barrage. I feel like with Rivals Barrage, although a lot of decklists do run 4 and kind of swear by 4, I feel like with 4 it can get a bit bricky, and this deck don't handle bricks well. Do not handle brick well. Having a lot of options in your hand is not great in BLs whatsoever, and if you can't get your Tamer, it's even worse. So I feel like 3 is just a nice comfortable amount, especially with the range of, essentially these are all kill cards effectively. So, you know, seeing these in security, banging. Getting them off mills, sauce. But getting them in hand, not so great. So we do run that there at 3. And then lastly, we do run the 1 X antibody as standard. I feel like this just once again great for that turbo play. Not massively essential, but when you do have it, oh god, the amount of aggression you can pull with this is the absolute nuts. Oh, bless me. So that concludes for the options right there. Nice and steady. We do run a solid 10. So going over to Tamers, this is where people could be like, oh, hell no. So Tamers, I know what you're thinking. You should be plain and simple. You know, just your standard 4 start deck guy Mako. You know, job's done, that's a wrap. We run 3 Start deck, Iron Mako. We all know what it does. It's busted. It is legit busted. It's your searcher, reveal top 4, pretty much get anything from your deck apart from options, winning. Absolutely sauce. And then on your turn, when a Digimon was about to be digivolved, or is digivolved, then you can suspend it, gain a memory. Well, obviously, I'm doing it in a way that like I play it. So you're able to pop a card on top of your deck, so you don't have to reveal it to the opponent, because it doesn't have to state what color it is. It can just be a card, suspend Iron Mako, and then you gain a memory from it, which is just, once again, well, as soon as you get this out on the field, the opponent's just like, oh man, we're just controlling the high roll. We controlling the high roll right here, which is just fantastic. So we do run that at 3. And I'm saying you can easily run this at 4. Not even a problem. I did at 4 for a very long time. But I'm just trying something here, guys. Boo! This is where the thumbs are down. We're going to go with the 1 Iron Mako. It's not only because it looks sexy as. I'm sampling it because sometimes just having a memory fixer is kind of nice. It is kind of nice. I like it because it's coming up, which I didn't think it actually would be coming up as much as it has been coming up in testing. Just having a bit of memory, additional memory, is gorgeous. I kind of like, when I'm attacking, I can trash an additional 1, which is sometimes come pretty clutch. On top of that, if I happen to have blast mode in my trash and I somehow have not managed to mill any of my rivals, I can tap into that, because then I can evo into a blast mode from my trash for the cost of 3, which will then unsuspend me. I'll be able to trigger its when digivolving effect, depending on if I've got 20 more in trash, be able to gain essentially that memory back, which then would have cost me nothing. I think I actually would have net a memory in that sense. So I'm sampling this for now, you know, I'm seeing if the palette's alright. But equally, you know, I got my boy on standby. I can easily put that back to 4. It's not a problem. But if I don't test, then I'll never know. And right now, it's doing okay. Surprisingly enough. But that concludes for the Tamers. Blam, I'm done. This recording's gone long enough. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash it with a like as standard. And guys, I hope you have an amazing day, amazing night. And I'll catch you in the next one. D-Dread, off the mic.